The Mandalorian and Grogu just got its first proper trailer, and I am hyped. And the world seems rather hyped too, to tell you the truth. As far as trailers go, this thing's well and truly blown up. It came out on the 22nd of September and has already amassed close to 9 million views as of writing this, which is not too shabby at all. Obviously, I want to talk about the trailer today, and so we'll talk more in general terms in a little bit, but first, before anything else, we'll go through the trailer and see what we can find. Okay, so we start off with a ship flying over a beach, just establishing the vibes, I guess. Then the Mando theme kicks in with the horn. Is that a horn? Just took a Google, and the instrument that they use in the theme song of the show is a bass recorder, but I don't think it's the same instrument here. Instantly though, the trailer hooks you with this. That ship flying over the beach, then the theme, then you see Grogu and Mando peeking over the hill with Grogu looking out of the telescope thing. Seems that they're either about to attack or perform a heist of some sort on an Imperial Remnant's base, which should be fun. Nothing says Star Wars quite like a horde of Imperial soldiers getting absolutely wrecked. I swear the only time stormtroopers have ever been useful is when they attack the ship in A New Hope, attack Hoth in The Empire Strikes Back, and then maybe at the end of Mando Season 1 when the Remnants are kicking ass on Navarro. Also, honourable mention to the clones in Order 66. Otherwise, they're just fodder to get smashed, and you love to see it. Moving on, we see a little alien thing and the sewers walking along with a flashlight. I like that we're seeing a lot more aliens here. I always felt like Star Wars, despite being in a huge galaxy filled with heaps of different species, always seems to default to humans dominating the narrative, whilst aliens only appear briefly in town shots and the like. Here it seems we're actually getting more of the wider world, which I'm enjoying. Also, Grogu's walking along with him. And I'll never get over how cute Grogu's little waddle is. Is he mostly CGI at this point, or do they have an actual robot that can walk around like this via remote control or something? We get a look at Sigourney Weaver as Ward, who according to Wikipedia is a colonel and leader of the New Republic's Adelphi Rangers, who was formerly part of the Rebel Alliance. So do we reckon she's just filling the gap that Carl Weathers' character left behind after he passed away last year, or is this a fresh character that was always going to appear and Grief was going to be left in the past? Nobody actually says anything in this sequence, or really for most of the whole trailer. It's just vibes, that's all this trailer's running off. I suppose there will be another trailer later on that really starts to dive into the actual plot and we'll get some true dialogue in those sequences, but still, I think I would have liked more. Grogu tries to steal her food using the Force and almost succeeds, and that's the type of thing I love about Grogu. He's adorable and works in many contexts. He works as the comic relief gluttonous child who steals food and is funny, except that time where he was eating that frog lady's eggs. That was weird, but we don't talk about that anymore. But he can also make you really emotional and upset when he's scared and needs Mando to protect him, which usually sets up the epic catharsis when Din kicks some significant ass. However, he can also be a frighteningly powerful badass too. He's very versatile as a character, and I'm curious to see how they plan on growing his character going forward. We see some heavy footsteps in a puddle in what seems to be some sort of city, before Din kicks the absolute shit out of somebody in a bar fight. He kicks him right in the chest, which launches the dude across the bar, and he crashes into bottles of booze. Grogu then jumping up onto Mando's shoulder, it just completes the shot. I wonder if he was also somehow getting involved with the Force there. That'd be fun to see. We then see some sort of lizard alien in a body of water, and I don't think he's meant to be a monster because I'm pretty sure you can see he's holding a weapon of some sort. Once again, I'm loving the frequent use of non-humans. We see Mando and Grogu in their ship, and little Grogu's pushing buttons. And I wonder if this is going to be a played for laughs, don't push the buttons type of thing, or if this is going to be something that he's actually learned, and he's helping start up the ship and take off. I tell you what, it would be extremely cute if he was helping like that. I think I'd really like to see that, to tell you the truth. We see Mando's ship flying through the clouds, being shot at and followed by, I guess, TIE fighters? If you look outside when he's starting up the ship, it looks like the beach planet terrain from the first scene, so I'm thinking they're going to go in, do some sort of heist, and then have to make their great escape. I'm thinking this would be the actual opening of the film, because jumping straight into some action is going to help the casuals get to grips with the characterization a lot better. After they finish up on that planet, they can head back to meet Ward, and the story can go from there. There's an adorable little scene of Grogu struggling to keep his head above water before he ducks under and starts swimming. We see Zeb from Rebels kicking some stormtrooper ass, and it's very brief and very unclear as to where he actually is. We've only really seen the stormtroopers on that one base on the beach planet, but like I said, that's probably going to be early on in the film, and I doubt he's going to be involved just yet. Grogu's riding in a speeder with more of those little dudes, Mando uses his jetpack to get to the ship whilst it's mid-flight, and then we see a crowd cheering at what I guess is Rhoda the Hutt, son of Jabba, that you meet in the Clone Wars animated movie. He's a baby in that movie, but here, based on this shot, he's an adult and very, very ripped. Is this going to be some sort of space wrestling event where he just whoops people? It kind of looks like he's standing in an arena after all. Also, the idea of a ripped slug man? It's very funny to me. Dude has certainly been hitting the gym more than his dad, that's for sure. The little fella's of course eating, and I wonder what the deal here is going to be. Are they going to do a job for him? Is he a contact? Do the Hutts still have that much power overall, or is that faded away? Is this guy going to be a villain / antagonist? Because I kind of think it would actually be fun to have Jabba's son not be such a bad guy, but maybe that's going to be asking too much. We see some really cool looking droids, really big lumbering looking ones. That's just a great design. We seemingly see Mando fighting in the arena against some reptilian looking dude. Well, a giant reptilian looking dude. I'm guessing that he gets forced into fighting in the arena by the Hutt, maybe to prove himself or maybe to just try to get rid of him. Either way, he's clearly going to beat that thing, maybe with some sneaky help by Grogu. We see Mando flying out of the roof of an AT-AT before it explodes, which I'm pretty sure was shown at D23 if I'm not mistaken. We then see what seems to be a different AT-AT fall over a cliff, probably as a result of Mando's actions. Also, I gotta say, surely these walker transports are some of the shittiest technology in all of Star Wars. Why would they ever use this kind of thing anymore? It seems absurd, it's so slow and lumbering. Just not worth it in my eyes. We then finish off the trailer with the title screen and a return to the sewers with Grogu and the little guy, with them being confronted by some giant alien sewer rat which Grogu blasts in the eye with green goop. Also, apparently this little dude is somebody from the films? I don't remember him. My Star Wars knowledge has fallen off a cliff over the years as I slowly drifted away from the fandom, so I wouldn't know him. And that's where the trailer ends, and I have to say, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I wouldn't say it was perfect because I think I would have liked to learn a little bit more about what is going on. This was just about bringing you back to the world and getting you hyped up with music, visuals, and action. Oh, and cute Grogu, of course. In the end, though, this film might actually be what manages to drag me back in at long last and get me to care about Star Wars again, because it has been quite a while. Has it really been 6 years since the last Star Wars film came out in cinemas? That is honestly insane to me. From what I've seen, Disney's a company that loves to milk their properties for all they're worth. You only have to look at their output to see this is the case. As soon as they realized there was serious money to make in live-action adaptations in the 2010s, they went full steam ahead and pumping them out until eventually, the time and care declined in favor of chasing profits. However, despite that downturn in quality, the films kept coming out, even as their revenues began to dip post-COVID. Now with Lilo and Stitch having made $1 billion, the box office for these films has proven to have rebounded, and so they're going to keep coming, and they'll probably become more frequent over time. Same with Marvel. Those first films leading to the Avengers were more of an experiment than anything else. Then when that film was proven a success, the scope of the MCU kept growing and growing, and the profits kept going up and up until we hit Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. Much like the live actions though, even as popular opinion and revenues declined, they kept on trucking, looking for that new spark that could kickstart their new big era for the franchise. However, conversely, Disney really pulled the plug on Star Wars films at an odd time. I mean, just look at the box offices for their first run. The Force Awakens in 2015 grossed $2 billion. Rogue One then grossed $1 billion. The Last Jedi grossed $1.3 billion. Solo was a flop, there's no doubt about it, only grossing $392 million, but then The Rise of Skywalker grossed $1 billion again. From a financial position, they were in a really strong place coming out of that movie, and yeah, whilst there was a lot of fan discontent, at the same time, that's never really stopped Disney before because I just showed that with the live-action films and Marvel. You can add on them throwing anything at the wall in their animation studios just to see what sticks and what the modern audiences are after. So what happened with Star Wars? Did they run out of ideas or something? Because here we are, a good 6 years after the release of the last film. We've had TV shows, sure, and a couple of them have been massively popular, although nothing broke through into that collective pop culture consciousness quite like The Mandalorian, and that's in no small part due to the dynamic between Din and Grogu, better known as Baby Yoda. I suppose then that it is kind of fitting that we're seeing Star Wars return to cinemas on May 22nd, 2026, with this movie. I was a big fan of The Mandalorian when it first came out, but over the years, I did kind of start to fall off. I didn't end up following on with that third season, and I don't really know why, although I did hear it wasn't as good as the first two. In that way, I do wonder how this movie's going to work. I think a big part of my decline in interest in Marvel a couple of years ago is because it felt like in a lot of ways you had to do homework to keep up with the films, and you had to watch all these different shows that I didn't care about. Now, obviously, I'm not too lazy to rewatch all of The Mandalorian, but I do think there's a good chance that a big portion of the potential audience they're going to try to draw in will have not seen the show before. They'll have just seen pictures of Baby Yoda. That's how this type of thing usually works. Thus, I think it means that the film needs to be casual friendly, that allows you to jump in with minimal context and knowledge about who the characters are and their lives before the film starts, and lets you come to grips with them very quickly. Some opening crawl text might be a good idea here, to tell you the truth. I mean, in the end, it's not like it's a very complex premise. Bounty hunter travels the galaxy with his son, who is a tiny green alien with force powers. There you go. I know that a lot of people don't like it when films hold your hand too much, but I think it is going to be a necessary step to get people on board and really help to make this thing catch fire. I feel like Lucasfilm wants Mando and Grogu to be the next big thing in Star Wars, at least from a cinematic context, and so they're going to want more than just this one movie. Thus, it needs to be accessible to the masses. That's just how it is. I have seen a lot of hate for it in the comments of the trailer, although other places have been a lot more balanced. I do think it probably didn't help to have released it during the midst of the whole Jimmy Kimmel situation where Disney came across very, very badly overall. But I don't think that really impacts my enjoyment of the trailer. I do think that based on all of this, the movie has a real shot of being very good. Like I said, I think they probably want to turn this into some sort of franchise and not just be one and done with the film and characters. They'll want to milk this one for all it's worth. We're about to enter the second era of Disney Star Wars movies after some time off where they focused on television. Now we have this, which looks good, Starfighter starring Ryan Gosling, which is set to release in 2027, and then maybe 6 or so other movies that are in the works and might eventually turn into something. I'm actually really curious as to what they're going to be able to cook up here. The last film era, it really did crash and burn, so more than anything, I hope they have some sort of creative vision and they stay true to that the whole way along, as opposed to flying by the seat of their pants and letting directors do whatever. They need somebody in charge to keep the vision if this is intended to be the start of something new. In terms of their prestige overall, I don't think they can afford for this to go really badly. It's not like Lucasfilm's going to go bankrupt, but their reputation is in the gutter. So hopefully it does well at the box office and we can get some good Star Wars content going forward. Otherwise I fear I'm going to be out the door once more. With all that being said though, these have just been my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer? Did you like it? Hate it? Are you excited for the film? Maybe not. I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.